Story by South Hedgehog 7564. Fate? I say no thanks. I've seen enough glitch stories on here to feel like maybe this fits, but it was still a debate with myself to actually share it. This isn't a story about a disappearing fruit or a teleporting dog. This was a slow-motion collision with reality that I felt coming years before it hit. Back when I was about 25, I started getting this really specific and unshakable sensation. It wasn't just health anxiety or being a hypochondriac, no. It was profoundly intuitive, knowing that I was going to get cancer. I know how that sounds though, believe me. People tell you, don't manifest negative energy, but this didn't feel like a choice. It was just an objective fact sitting in the back of my mind. Over the next 2 years, the feeling evolved. It got heavier. It wasn't just, I'm going to be sick, anymore. It was this true-side sense that I was heading straight toward death. Tracks were laid out. No turning the train. I couldn't understand it at all. When I was young, I was supposed to feel invincible, but instead I felt like I was chugging toward a cliff in the fog. I'd be out with friends or at work and just get hit with this wave of, enjoy this while you can, because the clock is ticking. Then at 27, the glitch or the premonition or whatever you want to call it finally manifested in the physical world. I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 3B. For those who don't know, stage 3 means it's on both sides of the diaphragm. It was everywhere. The doctors didn't mess around. They put me on a short but incredibly sharp and aggressive regimen of chemo. It was brutal. It felt like they were trying to see what would die first, me or the cancer. That treatment left its mark, believe me. It took me years, actual years, just to feel like a person again. It's not something often talked about for cancer survivors. The treatment becomes a kind of disease in of itself. You just hope it's a lesser one to the cancer. My body was never quite the same after that much poison was pumped through it, ironically to save my life. There are days even now where I can still feel the echo of that recovery. But here is the glitch in the best way possible. 39 years later, I am still here. I am sitting here writing this nearly 4 decades after I felt like my life was scripted to end in my 20s. I don't know why I had that sensation for 2 years, or if my brain was picking up on some microscopic change in my body way before the doctors could, but it definitely felt like I saw a glimpse of a different timeline. I honestly just have to thank the Lord, the incredible doctors and nurses who handled that insane chemo regimen, but kept me alive through it, and most importantly, my mother. She was my rock when I was literally staring down that feeling of death I had for years. I'm 66 now, and in excellent health. I outlived that knowing. If you're going through something or feeling that weird sense of dread, don't give up. The script can be rewritten. I think your theory is plausible, that your own body, your subconscious, was detecting signs in your body that you had cancer growing. But it doesn't know what cancer is. It's kind of similar to how the body responds to weight resistance on muscles, but it doesn't know the specific number of pounds that you're lifting. It's about resistance, it's about the perceived effect. It just doesn't really know what it is, but it just knows this isn't good. There are cells multiplying in ways that they shouldn't be, and they're just not stopping to reproduce, even though the spot they're in doesn't demand more growth. So the body is able to detect cancer early on. And I think sometimes, it is able to send signals of, dread. In that way, this is a story I think that pushes the boundaries right up to the edge of what a glitch versus what normal, accepted science would say is possible. And I like that, just where you blur the line where it's not entirely clear. Is this a glitch or is it just a stupendous effect of the miracle of the body itself and our own diagnoses? Now, it's one of those things where if it is just a function of the body, entirely normal, nothing multiverse layer going on or meta layer above it. It's kind of unfortunate that it's like pain in a way, where the signal is there, but we can't necessarily do anything about it. I mean, you eventually got treatment, but for those years prior to it, I guess you could say maybe it pushed you to get checked out earlier than you would have otherwise, because in many ways cancer is like a silent killer. It's similar to blood pressure. Not always, but in some cases where the cancerous growth isn't, pressing against an artery or a major organ or something, it might just grow until it's spreading all over, it metastasized all over your body and you didn't know until it's too late, or at least until it's very difficult. Now, the good news is that cancer treatments these days, compared to decades ago, way better. I mean, we still have chemo, which is, it really is just poison. It's trying to kill the cancer before you die yourself. And nah, it's not something I would want to go through. I mean, who would? But it's just, it's awful. I am so glad for you that you survived and you recovered, even recovered from the poison, clearly, because you made it decades after. Hopefully, many more decades to come for you. So, yeah. Welcome, I'm Paul. This is Dave. Today I have 12 Glitch in the Matrix and paranormal stories for you. My favorite one involves dreams of fire. Let's get to it. Like the video. Okay, let's get to it. Story by Kinney 101. The one thing that came back. I'm not sure if this was actually a glitch or maybe I was just in a really bad headspace and panicking, but 3 years ago, April 7th, my brother passed. I'm not going to go into many details because that's not what this is about. He was transported to the hospital on April 1st, and on the 7th, he was taken off life support. My mom and dad made the trip back home to break the news to me and my sister. My cousin was also there with us. I was already so scared and knew why they were on their way back, so I basically had my vape in my hand all the time. I know, bad habit, but I don't know. It was a really hard time. Anyways, my parents got home, and I vividly remember laying my vape on my bed. My cousin even says she saw it there, because when she heard the news, she sat right on it and noticed it when she got up. After I was done crying my eyes out, I really wanted my vape, so I went to grab it, and it was gone. Like, it just vanished into thin air. Me, my sister, and my cousin looked everywhere for it. We literally took everything off the bed, shook out the blankets and the sheets. My cousin even looked inside the pillowcases, but it was gone. So I remade my bed, let it go, hit my mom's vape, and we went over to my dad's mom's house. After a while, when everyone had left, I decided to walk back home to try to get some sleep. As I walked into my room, my vape was placed perfectly in the middle of the bed. Asked everyone if they had found it and just put it back without telling me, not wanting to bother me about it. Everyone said no after we all looked. They gave up too. It was seriously crazy. Me and my sister even joked that our brother had taken it just to mess with me. I know that sounds crazy, but we were coping. And I know someone's going to read this and think, why was the vape all you were worried about? It wasn't. My brother was my best friend. We hung out every single night, talked about everything. He knew all my secrets and I knew his. I just really wanted my vape. It was like a part of him too. I guess I just wanted to share it to see if anyone else had ever had a similar experience. Like you sat something somewhere, it disappears, and then somehow ends up back in the exact same spot? Story by Guardian Boy, the Non-Baconator. I usually wake up each day around 6 a.m. On weekends I normally just go back to sleep, but this weekend I decided to just stay up. I was too lazy to make food myself, so I checked to see what was open close to me, and it said there was a Wendy's. So I ordered on the app, drove to the drive-thru, ate my breakfast, and had a good day. That was yesterday. Today I was driving and happened to see the Wendy's I got my food from last night. It's closed. Permanently. Signage taken down and everything. I double-checked the address. It was the same one. But it's not in the app now. I checked online. It's been closed for 4 months. The empty bottle of orange juice and sandwich wrappers I got from there are still in my trash. My bank statement reflects a charge at Wendy's. The address and store number are on the statement. The food was real and it was good. Actually, the best I've ever had. The address is still stored in my GPS and reflects a trip there yesterday morning. So yeah, I am a little discombobulated here. And the thick plans. Wait. I called Wendy's this morning and it has been closed since January and has not been licensed to sell food there since then, nor do they have any employees there anymore. Okay, this glitch is cool because you have corroborating evidence. You have the receipts, literally, online receipts, of buying something there. I wonder, it would be difficult to contact corporate head office and talk about, okay, well, I was charged at this location that you say is closed, but the address is clearly there. And they would probably just say, oh, it's a technical glitch. You probably just bought it from a different location and didn't realize. But no, because you have the GPS evidence too. I mean, what kind of glitch would glitch out the GPS system as well as relay the charge to the wrong restaurant? It seems impossible. Plus, how many Wendy's are nearby you? I mean, I guess it's possible. You did go to a different one. There are, at least in this area, there's tons of McDonald's and Burger Kings. Not so many Wendy's, but in your area, maybe there's tons of Wendy's in your area. I don't know. Even then, though, it doesn't seem plausible to me. It really does seem like you went to a Wendy's that didn't exist. But it doesn't even work. It doesn't fit into multiverse theory, because then the bank charge would have been to a different. If you're back in your reality now, the charge wouldn't appear. It would have been charged to a different universe. In fact, it wouldn't even work there because your card shouldn't be compatible in a different universe. The encryption we use is randomized via quantum effects. Many systems use that anyways. Or it's like the decay of cesium or something, where the exact vector and timing of an individual decay is completely random. The universe itself doesn't know what's going to happen, which is hard to comprehend, because if the universe doesn't know and it still happens, what causes it to happen? If you get my meaning. It's kind of trippy that there's fundamental true randomness at very small scales. Or in like chaos, where the movement of the atmosphere, things like that, which is why we can't predict weather further out. But no tangents today. I'm just saying that if this was a different universe, your card wouldn't have worked and you wouldn't have evidence of it back in your original universe. So this really was the Wendy's in this universe. So this is an individual universe glitch that I have no explanation for. Because somehow it's like the Wendy's even then, if it was a Wendy's from a different location that was transposed here for one night, that would still be the Wendy's from that location, that universe, and no card would have worked there. Everyone would simply be getting errors. They'd have to pay cash. It seems like one of the smaller stories, but it's actually one of the most unexplainable ones I've ever read. Really cool. Story by 1986 Toyota Corolla 2. AOL on fire. If you can try to imagine a story that will stick with you forever, this one is it. And I'm always reminded of it when its anniversary trots by year after year. Unavoidable suspense. On the night of September 10th, 2001, I had the most intense, soul-crushing panic attack of my entire life. Keep in mind, I was just a kid in middle school. I didn't have real stresses yet, beyond the horrors of ham sandwiches in my lunchbox over chicken dinos. I was worried about homework and what was for lunch. But that night, it was like the air in my room turned into thick molasses. I couldn't breathe. I was awake most of the night, just pacing or staring at the ceiling, feeling this overwhelming sense of impending doom. And I was barely 9 again, so not the actual medical condition, just dread in its purest form. Absolute, bone-deep certainty that something catastrophic was happening or about to happen. When I did finally drift off into these short, fitful bursts of sleep, it was even worse. My dreams were just vivid images of mass death and fire. It wasn't a specific story or a movie-like plot, it was just pure raw fear, jumbled in still photos. I remember waking up drenched in sweat, my heart jamming against my ribs, just feeling like the world was ending in my sleep. I had no context for it. I just felt like I was drowning in terror. I hope I'm telling this right. It's important that everyone understands what kind of fear this was. I thought I was going to die from it. Not being attacked by anything, the fear itself snuffs me out. The next morning, I woke up feeling beyond drained, but the fear hadn't mostly subsided. I remember thinking, wow, that was a crazy night. But I was a middle schooler. My mind did not linger on it, as my less than perfectly stable adult brain would have. I didn't end up going to school that day. I can't remember if I was sick or just stayed home, but I did what every nerd did back then, hopped on the computer. This was the peak dial-up era. Do you remember that glorious sound of screeching and hissing of the modem taking 5 minutes just to get you to home screen? Boy, that part of this yearly memory is my favorite by far. Nostalgia at its finest. So I finally log on to AOL, and I vaguely remember seeing a tiny grainy thumbnail on the main landing page. It was a picture of a building on fire. Honestly, I didn't even blink. I just assumed it was an ad for a new Tom Cruise movie or some action flick. But my parents never let me see Mission Impossible, even though I begged them to, because kids at school were always talking it up. But I didn't really care. I just wanted to go to my chat rooms or play games, so I stayed on the internet for hours, tying up the phone like an anaconda. A few hours go by, and suddenly the internet cuts out because someone is trying to call the house. Back then, if someone called, it would boot you off the web. That's right, it was that brutal. Not only outgoing calls, incoming too. Friends could send targeted heat-seeking phone calls. I was annoyed. But then the phone started ringing like crazy. It's my dad. He finally gets through, and he is absolutely screaming at me. He's yelling about how he's been trying to call for hours. Why was I on the internet all day? And then he just stops and goes, "Do you even know what's happening?" I'm just standing there in the kitchen, detangling the phone cord, and said, "What? No, what are you talking about?" He tells me to turn on the TV. I walk over, click the dial, and wait for the tube to warm up. What the frick? It was everything. Every single thing I had been dreaming about the night before. The fire, the smoke, the sheer scale of the death wrapped in a dusty, suffocating feeling of doom. The same thing I'd felt in my bedroom at 2 a.m. It was all right there on the screen in real time. I stood there still in my pajamas, staring at the Twin Towers. I remember feeling like I was cursed. Why had I been given this knowledge? Was I the chosen one in some fable? Maybe it was a coincidence. I was applying the horror scenes onto a random event that happened later that day. Maybe I was just a sensitive kid. But the intensity of that panic and the way it felt like the universe was screaming in my ears for hours before the first plane even took off. I can't explain it. Not really. Even as an adult now, decades later. The peak dread of back then never comes back, but every year I feel deep melancholy. No one is supposed to be cursed like this. It's like Thanos said, I too share the curse of knowledge. There are quite a few stories about people, back in the day, not so much recently, but back in the day, witnessing in dream form or premonitions, especially like the night before, like the Challenger explosion, the shuttle explosion. And, of course, 911. I guess very potent events. We haven't had many catastrophes on that scale in quite some time. So those kind of events where so many people die, I guess they almost ripple apart the fabric of the universe. And, I mean, it would make sense. There's so much death and loss, and like the mechanics of the universe themselves have to be on overdrive when that many people die. I wonder, this is a random thought, but I wonder if people had premonitions of Hiroshima before the bombs dropped. The fat man and little boy. I mean, they would just be dreaming of a giant plume of fire in the sky, very similar to the dream here. I mean, obviously, the Twin Towers, they were just melted from the inside, but it's still pure horror. But then you think about other horrors that we've had, great tragedies, and either inflicted by man or just, natural disasters. How many people have premonitions of those and never share their premonition with the world? Because who's going to believe them? It always comes back to that. At least there's a little pocket here where people do believe people who share their stories, so that's good. Story by Simplistic Beauty, Golden Courtesy. This is the second time this has happened, but I bought this simple, dainty gold ring for my pinky a few years ago at my sister-in-law's shop. Nothing crazy, but I liked it. It was handmade. Well, I've lost this ring twice now, and both times I've lost it, it has reappeared in a different spot. The first time I questioned myself if I had imagined it, but I swore I felt the ring slip off while I was in the car. I searched for it and didn't find it. I was pretty bummed out about it, and even called my husband about it. As I came into my room, I saw it sitting on top of my nightstand. I was super confused and immediately got goosebumps. I never leave rings on my nightstand, but I have a shelf above where I keep a ring holder. I said, "Thank you," out loud and talked myself into thinking it must have fallen off in the morning and I must have not noticed it. Well, it happened again, and this time I know I lost it away from home. I had stopped by my parents' house after work on my way home and noticed after leaving their house that I didn't have my ring on. I figured it fell off at work or at my parents' house, but thought maybe the ring fairy might bring it back again. It wasn't at home, and I looked everywhere and could not find it. I asked out loud for help finding my ring. Don't know why I keep doing that, but nothing happened. Well, it's been 5 to 6 days, and as I was walking to my dining room table, after I had just left it after dinner, my little gold ring was sitting there, right in front of where I normally sit. I said, "Thank you," again, but this time I didn't get spooked out. My husband, on the other hand, is spooked because we had just cleaned that table and he knew that ring had been missing for a while. He's not sure what to make of it. Super weird. Story by Professional Egg 821. The wardrobe's best kept secret. It was the year 2020. I was about to get married, and my mother bought this beautiful and expensive sari for herself to wear at my wedding reception. We're Indian. Sari is our thing. And then COVID lockdown happened. I got married in June 2020 as scheduled, but never had the reception as large gatherings were not allowed. My mom kept the sari intact in its original packaging in her cupboard and forgot about it as there was no other suitable occasion to wear it. Fast forward to the year 2022. A friend was about to get married and I thought of this sari, and I wanted to wear it to that friend's wedding. But when I asked her where it was, she couldn't find it. I went to my parents' place and searched the entire home multiple times, including the obvious places like her sari section of the wardrobe, where she thought she kept it, and even the less likely places like the place where we store extra bed linen, or tools, etc. The sari had disappeared as if it never existed. My aunt does tarot reading, so my mom asked her to get some clues, even though we both don't really believe in that stuff, as a last-ditch effort. My aunt pulled up some cards, gave some clues, like the sari in its box is near shoes. We searched according to the clues we got. Still, nothing happened. It had vanished. The said wedding was still 2 months away, so I prepared another outfit and decided to let go of that sari. One day I was visiting my parents and we got to talking about the sari. I was really bothered and wanted to find it, so I simply said, "Let's start from scratch again. Let's look into all places once again." I got up and opened my mom's sari section, and there it was, in front of our eyes, where we had already looked many times before and never had found it. It was in its original packaging that we had searched for. Me, mom, dad, brother, grandpa, everyone had looked into that part of the wardrobe at least once and never found it, and it had magically reappeared. I wore it to that friend's wedding. It looked amazing too. No magical sparkles, but still. However, me and my mom, we are still baffled by how it reappeared. And as for someone borrowing it and trying to covertly return it, no way. Nobody could. It's only my parents who live in that house, with me occasionally visiting. None of the guests or maids would open that wardrobe. And anyway, being COVID years, there were hardly any guests who visited them. The maids did not have access to that wardrobe, so we didn't let them touch our personal stuff. Guests don't go into bedrooms. That's not the norm in my house, and there were hardly any guests that year due to COVID. Plus, my dad is a diabetic, more vulnerable to COVID. Rather, the only person who visited frequently and had access to the room and hence a wardrobe was me. And the most important thing, the Saray was completely unused, was in its original packaging and the original folds intact, the way it was kept when purchased. The Saray equivalent of mint condition. There was absolutely no way anybody had ever opened that bag. The Saray was in a plastic bag, which was in a cardboard box with the brand logo on it, which was in a fabric bag of the said brand. The Saray, when kept aside, was kept that way. I was the one who kept it away, and it was exactly like that when found. Also, Saray is a type of fabric which usually needs finishing touches after purchase. Adding lining for proper fall, closing the ends with either an overlook, stitch, or tassels, cutting blouse pieces, etc., which is usually done after purchase. We had kept it as we knew the occasion wasn't going to be there anytime soon due to COVID. Unfinished Saray cannot be used as a garment, hence nobody had any reason to borrow it. Frankly, hardly anybody even knew that we had the Saray. Story by Turbulent Slip 4275. An Envelope to Eternity. I literally feel so confused right now, and I'm not even sure how to feel. I'm mostly just shaking because this makes zero sense. Basically, a couple months back, I brought my cash tips home from my job to count. The way we do it is each day's tips are kept in an envelope, and after a couple of weeks, we take the envelopes home and split the cash between everyone. I remember this one night so clearly. I had tucked 2 specific envelopes into my personal bag to bring home. I already had a separate paper bag at home with a week's worth of envelopes in it, but it was missing those 2 specific dates. When I got home, I distinctly remember taking those 2 envelopes out of my bag and placing them right on my bed. I went to change out of my work clothes, and when I turned back around to grab them, they were gone. Completely disappeared. Poof. I tore my room apart and never found them again. Fast forward to today. I brought tips home again, counted them all fine, and was splitting everyone's shares up. I had 2 days that were in pouches instead of envelopes left to finish. I'm sitting there, doing the math for what each person gets, and I start adding the totals to the envelopes I'd already filled. I get up to the very last envelope and I can't find it. Mind you, I did not stand up for a single second while I was counting. I was sitting in the exact same spot the entire time. There wasn't nowhere for her envelope to fall, no breeze, nothing, it's just gone. I've looked everywhere around me and I can't find it at all. I'm not even sure what to do because it literally already had money in it. How does an entire envelope of cash just delete itself while I'm sitting right in front of it? This is the second time this has happened and I feel like I'm glitching. Has anyone else had stuff just vanish while you're looking directly at it? Story by Medium Jellyfish 851. The Haunting of a Good Girl. A few weeks ago, the first weird thing happened. I woke up in the middle of the night and went to check if our dog was inside. My dad was right there and told me, "Yeah, she's in. I just let her in." I saw her with my own eyes. There isn't a shred of doubt about that. My dad left, locked the house up tight, and I went back to sleep, feeling fine. When I woke up later and went to find her, she was outside. For no reason. The doors were all still locked. I was the only person in the house the entire time, and there was literally no other way for her to get out. No doggy door, no open windows or cartoon hole in the wall. I just brushed it off though, as me being tired. But then, today happened, and now I'm actually shaking scared. I just went upstairs and she was just sitting there in one of the rooms. The thing is, she was 100% supposed to be outside. I know for a fact we put her out, and everyone else in the house confirms it. I asked everyone, "Did you let the dog in?" And nobody did. We checked every single door, all of them were locked from inside. We have absolutely no idea how she got back in without us letting her in. We remember for sure letting her outside, and then suddenly she's just reappearing in the hallway like she's been there the whole time. What the frick is going on? Is my dog magical? All I know is she's a good girl. Story by Alex the Loser. Fresh bag, no witness. I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible, because if I start overthinking the details, I'll actually start spiraling. So plain and simple, my boyfriend and I live together, just the two of us. This morning, he casually asked me if I took the trash out last night. I told him no, and he looked at me weird and said, well, it's gone, and there's a fresh bag inside the bin. The thing is, neither of us took it out. I don't know if he's just trolling me at this point, but he seems dead serious. I did have some drinks with friends last night, but I wasn't blackout or anything. I remember the whole night clearly. Plus, me and my girls were up late watching movies, so I didn't even get home until almost 3 a.m. We live in an apartment complex and the compactor is a bit of a walk from our building. I'm a pretty small woman. I'm sure as crap not walking around by myself at 3 a.m. after having a few drinks. Zero ninja skills here, and I don't care how gated or safe the place is. I just wouldn't do that, period. I'm losing my mind because he's just so nonchalantly being like, okay, I guess you didn't take it out then. But he definitely thinks I did and just forgot. I have to share it with people who will understand I'm not crazy. I asked him a dozen times if he's just messing with me, and he's getting almost irritated that I keep asking, but he just doesn't believe it's a glitch. He's vanilla as the bean. He didn't take the trash out last night, and I know for a fact I didn't. But this morning, empty bin, fresh bag. How? I've had one other experience similar to this that I posted about years ago, but it's still so strange to me. I'm low-key freaked out. Story by OK Exercise 3995. A bug in the Zest layer. Oh, hi there. So I'm still standing in my kitchen, staring at this lemon because what the frick? Tonight I was making some herbal tea for my boyfriend. I'd already rinsed the bay leaves and moved on to the lemon. I was being super precise too, because I just wanted the yellow zest part. So I was carefully removing the peel while trying my absolute best not to get any of the bitter white pith. I finished, tossed the peel into the saucepan with the boiling water, and turned back around. What I saw literally made my heart stop. Okay, not literally. The lemon on the counter was completely naked. Like, all the white pith was gone. It was just the raw segments and pulp exposed. I froze because I was positive I had been careful with my peeling. I immediately looked at the peel already in the boiling water and fished it out with a fork to check it. I'm looking at the peel, then looking at the lemon, then back at the peel. The pulp was fully visible on the lemon, but that pulp definitely wasn't attached to the peel I had just cut off. What the frick? So how the hell was a lemon completely exposed without the pith? It's actually shocking. I'm standing there like, definitely a bug in this version of the human illusion. I'm a strong believer in the simulation conspiracy, but not through direct experience like this. It's so cool to experience, but only later on after the fact. I checked again many times and they straight up didn't match. I was actually paying 100% attention to what I was doing. I finally called my boyfriend over like, am I crazy? And even he looked at it and said the peel looked like it belonged to a completely different lemon. So yeah, I wasn't the only one who saw it. I guess sometimes the Matrix just gets lazy with the assets. Anyone else experiencing weird kitchen glitches lately? Story by Rusi Roo, an Aqua error. Back in 2022, I made this big custom poster for my grandma's birthday. It was a sentimental thing where it listed out all the kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids. Heartfelt family tree vibes. Anyway, I'm a moron and I messed up the numbers. I wrote that she had 32 great-grandkids, but she actually only had 23. Well, Grandma noticed. Instead of asking me to fix it, she just took a marker, X'd out the 32, and wrote 23 right next to it. I remember being so low-key annoyed at the time because I would have happily redone it for her so it looked nice, but she just left it like that. It's been hanging on our display in our house for 4 years with that messy edit on it. I've seen it 100 times by now. I guess to her, she embodies the whole, It's the thought that counts. I thought so, anyways. Fast forward to this morning. I'm at her house. I walk past the poster and I freeze. The edit is gone. It just says 23 great-grandkids. Pristine. No whiteout or smudge marks. No signs of anything being covered up or scratched off. It's still my exact handwriting, too. It's the same specific ink, too, not even black. It's like this weird aqua teal color that would be a nightmare to try and match perfectly. I asked her about it, and she has zero memory of ever fixing the poster or the edit even existing before. And why would she lie? She wasn't even bothered initially. Also, one of my siblings 100% remembers her editing it back in 2022, just like I do. I've never believed in the alternate timeline or Mandela effect stuff, but I'm standing here staring at this thing, and all I can think is she somehow perfectly matched the ink color, corrected the error professionally, and forgot she did it? And she has absolutely no signs of dementia or Alzheimer's at all. Story by C4SC4L. Uncanny Blue. Little story time, because I'm still battling over this. My family and I were at Movie Park in Germany last week. It was a total hyper feeling. Super nice sunny day. The whole day was pure greatness. We had a blast, hit the rides, the whole 9 yards. Then things got weird. When it was finally time to head out, I dipped into one of the gift shops to see if I could find a souvenir or whatever. Finish up, step outside into the sunlight, and there's this park worker standing right there. He'd just come out to turn on one of those bubblegum machines. I don't know what they're actually called. The ones that just cast bubbles at the kids. I swear to God, you guys, this guy did not move or behave like a normal human being. Pure freaking Men in Black alien here. I'm not even exaggerating for the plot. He moved like a straight up E.T. robot. Every motion was calculated and mechanical. Just looking at him gave me instant goosebumps. He does not belong. Even his appearance was off, disconnected from humanity. His eyes were bright blue, but like the bluest freaking blue you could ever imagine. Like a color that shouldn't exist on a person. Like someone went into MS Paint and filled his eyes deep blue. Then he looked at me. Even the way his eyes tracked me didn't seem normal. It was so stiff and unnatural, like something trying its best to imitate how humans look at each other, but not quite hitting the mark. Uncanny Valley, I think, is a term for this. But that's for CGI, I thought. Wasn't supposed to exist in real life. This is making me think, okay, I believe aliens exist, and not just in the galaxy, but I believe they visited us here. And it's well within the laws of physics, nothing prohibits it, even if we have to travel below the speed of light. There's many designs to get to 1% of C or 10% of C. That's just the speed of causality or speed of light. All you really need for that is a good fusion drive, which is 100% doable. And, it would still take centuries or thousands of years to travel the distances, wherever those aliens might be out there. But if they have stasis or generational ships, it's 100% doable. We could envision how to do it now within the laws of physics. We can't actually do it yet because it's just too expensive and there's some material science we aren't quite clear on. But anyways, more to the point, aliens could be here within the boundaries of the laws of physics as we understand them today. And if they are, maybe they don't view us as hyper-intelligent yet, but we might still be a fascination, something to study, the way we observe ants or we observe any other lower animal or species. They fascinate us. We wouldn't necessarily want to exterminate them. Maybe some do, some alien species would, but I believe there's enough, because I also believe there's multiple species of aliens here observing us. Anyways, what I'm trying to get at is that I think that if there are aliens here observing us, they would want to be on the ground, either in a robotic, like Android fashion, where like you say, was robotic and calculated movements and everything didn't feel right because of that, or they're simply constructing like a false layer, a suit. It's like Riker going down on the planet, in TNG. First Contact, Beverly Crusher gives him the appearance of the locals, but it's not perfect, right? To try to imitate the culture and mannerisms and precise essence and aura of a human being is very challenging. I mean, just for the local environment, there's so many different cultures and everything you have to account for. Even if you're a smart alien species, you might not get it perfectly. So if they're here on the ground with us, which, they would want to be, they would have drones and automated probes and all that scanning us. But if they're anything like us, they would want to be boots on the ground, taking it all in for themselves, really trying to understand us directly. Now, kind of weird, I guess, to pose as just a park employee. But then again, that is a place where a lot of people go, and it's a good place to observe a lot of people, so it's not impossible that this was an actual alien or alien-adjacent construction. Or it's just a weird dude with really deep blue eyes. I guess that's possible too. Now time for the jokes of the day. My son said, "What rhymes with orange?" I pondered for a while and said, "No, it doesn't." Why was my post removed? Can someone please tell me why my post was removed? I'm very frustrated because now my fence has fallen over. I'll never forget what my granddad said to me before he croaked. He said, "Hey kid, want to hear my frog impression?" I don't think I'm doing that right. What did Harry Potter say when he filled up his gas tank? "Expensive petroleum." It's a potent spell. I entered a lottery to win an entire shopping center, but I failed. I guess you can't win 'em all. Gotta say that just right. Something stuck in my eyeball. Video up here somewhere. Check it out. See you next time.